This going.
Going
There you go.
All right. Good morning. Let's try to make some sauerkraut. Oh, wait. And day 2 of our shelter-in-place quarantine. Happy St. Patrick's Day. So my lovely assistant will get the cabbage out of the refrigerator.
Where's the cabbage?
Out of the refrigerator. So, seen this in a little while. I've got my. No, thank you. Lab coat after my favorite. Make some corned beef and cabbage, but not all of it. So, since we're not having as many people over, excuse me. So you'll need some cabbage, some salt, a bowl, something to top it up with. I will also be using this. Keep the outside off a little bit. So it looks good. So I am doing this to get ready for some AP practice. Do some other things. Also, as we're going along, once it kind of is together, then I'll take some questions at the end and put those in the comment section. Did I wash my hands? I don't think I washed my hands. I'm going to go wash my hands. Here we go. It's 20 seconds. Since I'm not in front of the camera anymore. Not in front of the camera and you can't hear me. All right. Has it been 20 seconds? Somebody been timing?
I think it's been 20 seconds.
Okay, thank you. All right. You can also move the camera. It was there too. That's all right. So we're back. So both my kids are helping me today. My son is on the camera. My daughter is my assistant.
I'm standing here.
Yeah, just let me get this.
Handed the cabbage.
And the cabbage. That's right.
That's
My
good.
caviar was my hand. Handed the cabbage.
All right, here we go. I'm going to save a quarter of the cabbage for the corned beef today. Oh, I cut that wrong. Oops. And all right, okay, Bear, can you go put this on that counter over there, please? Thank you. All right, this is garbage. Oh, here you go, Bear. You might have to put your phone down.
That's fine. I can carry cabbage with one hand.
All right. What's going on here? Let's go. So you can cut this really thin. The thinner it is, the better it works. So I'm going to take the chunky piece out here. That's there. Oh, that's there. Oh, nice. Okie doke. So if you got a nice sharp knife and you're going to try to cut it, try to get the thinner, as thin as you can. So something like that. I don't know if you can kind of see that. Can I see that, Jack?
Yeah.
All right. So something like that. That's kind of what you're going for. That's going to take forever. So let's use this old food processor that I believe is literally older than me. So go. This is going to go here. Do I have all the pieces? Here's a little piece. Can I go there? All right. All right. That's going to go down there. Let's put some stuff into it. should probably have some eye protection on. Just in general. Oh, now I can see a little bit better. All right. How we doing there, Jack?
Good.
Okay. Yeah, da, 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 da. Ooh, there's the big chunk I was looking for. I didn't see it. Okay. So I generally cut the cores out because they taste bad. But I guess if you don't pick that up, it falls on the floor, it's bad. All right. All right. That doesn't fit. Remember, physics teacher can do it. Anybody can. Because our stuff usually doesn't work terribly well. It's working. All right. What else is going on? So we're on shelter in place for 2 weeks, which is about how long it'll take this to kind of ferment, get itself in there. That was close. Fingers on that one. Known as Mr. Lubbs of the fingers. Oops. All right. We're getting there. We are getting there. So, ooh. Yeah, da, 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 da. Other exciting things are happening. Nothing. Sitting at home, trying not to kill ourselves. So you've seen our schedule on my Facebook page. So it's real important to have something to do during that's scheduled. Having to just turn into a bunch of nothing, you're going to go crazy. Start losing it. Start talking to people that aren't there. Or thinking that you can live stream sauerkraut making. Oh, I can fit one more in there. I almost put some shelf. All right. Now, I think I'm finished. What? Oh, yeah, put the top up. That's what it's not working. There we go. Okay. That's gotta go there. That's gotta go there. Whoa. That's a lot. That's gotta go over there. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna guess I Probably put too much in there. Yay! So, you can kind of see how this looks. Nice and shredded. This is gonna make, well, that's gonna make a nice sauerkraut there. Here we go. So now you got to be able to pull some of that liquid out. You're gonna put about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of salt. A lot of places that I've seen recommend like a kosher salt or any other fancy salt, but you can also use iodized salt in a pinch. Can I have a tablespoon, please? So, all right. Thank you. The coarse kosher salt's going to take longer to get in there. I don't care. There we go. Put that on there. And kind of sprinkle it a little bit. Let this soak in for a little bit. The salt's gonna pull the water out of the cabbage, and it's gonna start settling down and pack in. So while it's doing that, if you have the time, you really want to let it sit for about an hour. Not gonna let this stream go that long. So you can kind of get your jars together. I have a giant jar that's somewhere that I can't find. So I don't know. I put it somewhere. No, I can't find it. So we'll be doing it over 2. Yeah, it'd be about 2 of these large containers. So I also kind of want to do this next week, and then the week after these, next 3 weeks. So next week we're going to make homemade bread, some no-knead bread. You'll need some flour and some salt for that, and a Corelle container or something that can go in the oven with a lid. And also, in about 2 weeks, I'm going to roast some green coffee in an air popper, popcorn popper. So that will give you a little bit of time since the mail is slow. Amazon's not moving terribly fast. So you want green coffee. Doesn't really matter what kind of coffee. It's going to be really, really good. And air popper, popcorn popper, you can get these down at the Goodwill. Oh, they're not open. Well, not open where I am. Where if you're spending more than $10, you're spending too much. And then we'll roast some popcorn in it. Also, if you decide to buy it new, roasting coffee in an air popper, popcorn popper voids the warranty. So just giving you some heads up. All right. Now, let's go back to the cabbage. Starting to weep a little bit here. So let's begin to put it in. Ooh, I forgot. I also need a little bit of acid. So because we just used the raw cabbage, there's bacteria that's around there, and we want the one that loves the acid. We're trying to get a malolacto fermentation happening here, which is a fancy word for taking one sugar and turning it into another sugar. So, which is why I'm not a biology teacher either. So that's going to take a little bit in there. We want the nice environment to do that. You can use plain old white distilled vinegar. So that's about a tablespoon's worth. Just enough to get the acid so that any crusty things the bad things won't grow and the good things will. Keep dropping. All right. Let's pack it in there. Spread this around a little bit of both. Shove this in here. How we doing? Doing all right? Did Mom show up at all?
We can't.
I
We
don't know.
can't see.
You can't see any of the feed?
Well, we'd rather watch you than
Oh.
try to figure it out.
That's fine. Don't know any of those people anyway. How's it look? Making a mess. This is also why Mrs. Lubbs is in a different room, not watching it. Hopefully we can have it cleaned up before she gets back. I might need another jar. There's another jar over there.
No.
Are you sure there's not one on the there's not a garage, there's not a, yeah. That one will work.
Good answer.
Thank you. That should work. That's in there. Right. All right. And Vera, can you get my other jar that's there? Putting this in here. I'm going to cheat a little bit, mostly because this hasn't been able to sit. And there are kind of two ways you can kind of seed it in. Look at that. Yeah. Now it's starting to move out. So. So, a couple things that you can do. You can do what the old Vikings used to do, and you could have a stirring stick that you would stir each one, and then the bacteria would get in the stick, and then this is how you would inoculate your next one. They would call it their magic stick, and they would it would be with the families as they would go along. It would be passed down, so that's how they would make their meads and other things. So you would shove it in there, and nothing would be right unless you stirred it with the magic stick. However, that magic stick's got some problems that I need to work with. It's no longer magic anymore. So I'm going to need a little help from some other friends. So, thank you. And can I have another? So this is old sauerkraut that I have from a couple weeks ago that I made. Put a little bit of pepper in it. Some jalapeno. I put 1 or 2 jalapenos in it. I end up with 2.5 jars. So you can see there's a little red jalapeno pepper in there. Just to make it spicy, mix it up a little bit. So I'm gonna seed it with a little bit of that. And then, it's got lots of space. This is good. I can put this in here. And good thing we are now I'm going to seed it with a little bit of stuff. Put a little bit of there. There. And now I've got to make sure no oxygen gets in there. And this is the part where you just got to keep the top covered, and it'll eventually go down. I want to keep the air out of it. So you can, I know people who fill it full of water just to keep it on there, but every time I've done that, I get bubbles that are in here that then push the water out of the way, and I'm constantly covering it and opening it and closing it, and I just don't like to do that. So what I'm going to do is, what I was going to do was, where my Ziploc bag? Oh, I hid it. I'm going to take a Ziploc bag, shove it in the top like this, flip it over, and then fill it full of water. Can I have the large measuring cup down at the bottom? Yeah, can you fill that full of water for me, please? fill that up. That puts a little bit of pressure on it. It's going to seal up against the sides really nicely. And it'll go down. It'll kind of put a little bit of weight on it. You can kind of see it moving around there. And then it's also flexible enough to let the bubbles come out. So. All right. With that, what do I use? A Ziploc bag. If you have a sandwich bag, that will work too. You don't have to use a Ziploc bag. Ziploc bags are just what I have. You can also use, if it's a pinch, you can use this is a big old grocery bag. Just make sure you clean it, rinse it off a little bit. Yeah, this should. Then you leave after about 1 to 2 weeks, or as long as Mrs. Lubbs will let me keep it on the counter. That will do. That'll be good. You should see some bubbling in the next day or two. That's exactly right. And if it stinks, you're doing it right. If you get some air in there, you'll end up with a little bit of. You could end up with some mold on the top. I think you can still eat it. I tried to eat one piece of it once. I couldn't swallow it. But you'll probably be okay. And again, if you look at it and it doesn't look like it's supposed to, if it doesn't look something like this, if it's nice, almost the same color as that, changes slightly, it's still kind of crisp. You open it up and it smells bad, throw it out. You're a smart person. You can figure it out. All right. So with that, that's it. Now I just have to clean up. So I will do that off screen. Thank you for helping me try this out today. Thank you to Vera and Jack. Thank you to Kate for the food processor. And Lord also, Lord, as I'm praying. And also, as you go out there, remember the other people that are around you. Keep your distance, cough into your elbow, wash your hands, don't touch your face. And we'll get through this. So we'll see you next week. All right. Bye.
Next week, making some bread.